stories coming up on your screens right now. Karnataka Minister Zameer Ahmed stokes fresh controversy, uses racist slur. Congress carefully distances itself from the remark. Slur on Kumaraswamy. He is controversy's favourite child. Tawarchand Gehlot initiated an inquiry against him for his remarks on the High Court's order, called it a political judgment. And as if this controversial remark was not enough, trouble racist comment against Union Minister HD Kumaraswamy. Let's understand in Chennapatna and now listen in carefully to what he said.
पार्टी से छुईतीसो कुछ ना इत्तेफाकिया को पार्टी छोड़ को बीएसपी गए इंडिपेंडेंट ठहरे करे मजबूरन दूसरा कोई रास्ता नहीं कर को जनता दल को उनको वोट टाइम को जाना मंजूर नहीं कई के वास्ते जनता दल को जाना मंजूर नहीं तो बीजेपी से
And Union Minister Kiran Rijiju in a post on X wrote and also made a veiled attack on the technocrat turned politician Sam Pitroda of the Congress Party. And ex-CM of Karnataka, Shri Kumaraswamy, as Kalia Kumaraswamy. This is a Arab. However, you know what? Zameer is a repeat offender because he had made the same comment. I quote him. He said, "I'm short and God made me short. God made him dark and hence Kala, that is black. If I call what is very strange is, and look, racist comments have to be deplored. They have to be criticized, rejected. But I can understand. South Indian himself. And for him to say something like that, it's pure evil and deplorable. First up, my colleague, Baji, also joining us, Dr. Sudha R. Halkai, spokesperson of the BJP in Karnataka. Namaskar, Sudha. Let me first go to, what's the big, this man is a motor mouth. Would you agree?
There is no doubt about it that he's a motor mouth. He just finished his press conference. In this, I have been calling this to Kumaraswamy when I was in his party also. And we have a very good relationship, which means in the racist term black, and that is what we've shared. Statement, but that is not the only thing that he's gone on to say. He's also gone on to say that they want the vote of Muslim leaders, and they have come asking for their vote. I would also tell them that you tell me your price, and I would pay that much. We would say that. Zameer Ahmed is somebody, if he's let loose, then he will come biting. Ministers in the Congress have also come forward and spoken to the Chief Minister, saying that Zameer Ahmed, we should make sure that Zameer Ahmed does not speak, at least during the election time, because it is affecting their chances in their area. So it clearly gives you that, yes, there is this free upper hand that is being given to Zameer Ahmed, where he's allowed to talk what he's talking. But on the other hand, he's also a close aide of the Chief Minister, because he's one of the few people who were sworn in during the swearing in ceremony that happened in Kantirwa Stadium, where only 7 people were sworn in. So Zameer Ahmed is using his clout, his power to say what he says, and what he has defended himself, saying that it is not something new. I have been saying this to Kumaraswamy and he's been calling me Kula. So it's one and the same for him. Now, how much will Kumaraswamy take this? Because we've just seen Kumaraswamy take the stage at Channapatna. He'll be giving his speech before the Model Code of Conduct comes into play. So if he gives the jibe, and that again becomes the news, so we'll wait and watch how Kumaraswamy replies to the racist remark of Zameer Ahmed.
What, Wajiullah, I think it's really downright to be criticized that someone is calling someone short, they're body shaming each other, that person is calling him black. I understand that Sam Pitroda did that. It was the most ignorant statement to make. I also remember Tarun Vijay, of the BJP RSS once saying the same thing. Like I said, you can't possibly say that this is all right For instance, in Tamil Nadu, one minister called North Indians Pani Puri wala. What is going on? And look at the Congress party in Karnataka, who go hammer and tongs against, BJP is sectarian, they are dividing people. They don't want to talk about this major embarrassment. Do you think Siddaramaiah will take any action? I'm sure he won't, Vajula, because he himself is in a bit of a problem now. Would you agree?
Well, when he made that speech yesterday, DK Suresh was standing next to him, the ECP Yogesh was standing next to him, and they were slyly laughing or smiling when he said all of this. We'll have to wait and watch whether Siddaramaiah takes any action or not. But one thing is right when you pointed this out, that if leaders only start speaking this language, then we cannot expect the government, we cannot expect normal people to behave in a right manner. They will take advantage of such language and they will use it on. But if you expect a leader coming on the street and doing justice, then you will expect normal people also to do the same thing. So I think it is more important than leaders like this should make sure that the statement should be carefully vetted, because what they are going to say is going to be heard by thousands of people. And if people on the street start calling each other Kariya and Chutka and all of these things, then you will not have a well-grown society. You will have people calling each other's name, and that's not what we want in our country.
You just stay with us, please, Mohammad Wajiullah. Let me now take Dr. Sudha Arhalkai, a spokesperson for the BJP in Karnataka. Sudha, this is downright deplorable. It is horrible, the way these politicians speak. And I today want you to speak as a woman, as somebody who's educated, who's enlightened, better than you're a woman. And you know that as a species, there are politicians who are always gunning for women, their looks, their character, their past, their present, their future. What kind of language is this? Kariya, Kulla, short and dark and everything. Is this the way a Karnataka cabinet minister speaks? He's housing and waqf, right? What is he trying to say? So tomorrow, if there are some community slurs against the minorities of whom he's a minister, then what happens, Sudha? It's tit for tat.
Sudha, let me first tell you what Mr. Zameer Ahmed today is in Karnataka. He is a land grabber. He is the captain of the land jihad in Karnataka, who is grabbing all the lands of the farmers, the innocent, the annadatas over here, which we had discussed earlier also. What can you expect from this person who doesn't have a sympathy for the farmers, who wants to loot the farmers? He is one person. He is commenting on the color of Mr. Kumaraswamy. This attitude of Mr. Zameer Ahmed shows how ill-mannered he is. It shows his mentality. It shows his upbringing. It shows his culture. And this is not the first time that one of the Congress leaders is commenting on the colors. Earlier also, the so-called mentor, the advisor, and whatsoever, Mr. San Pitodo to Rahul Gandhi has also commented to the whole of the Indians. He told the South people are like Africans, the North and the West are like the Arabs, and the East are like the Chinese. You tell me, what right do they have to comment on all the Indians?
I totally agree. And okay, listen, Sudha. At least with Zameer Ahmed, we can say maybe he's not as educated. But Sam Pitroda lives in America. He's a technocrat.
He's the advisor. He's the advisor to Rahul Gandhi.
This is how they speak.
That means he's an advisor to the whole of the Congress leaders in India, Sudha. That's it. And that's the thing they're following. Yata Guru Tata Shishya.
Right. So let me come back to you. Yeah, absolutely. Bajji, I want to ask you, look at this. Let's expand this, conversation. When someone calls someone black, and particularly we South Indians call each other black, I'm not saying you are fair, I'm dark, whatever. I'm just saying when we call each other, it stems from some kind of complex which is there. Where is Zameer Ahmed Khan from? Let the viewers know. He's from Karnataka, right? He speaks Kannada, right? Today we heard him speak Dakkani. But other than that, he's someone who's from Karnataka. Am I right? He was educated there.
Well, yes, he's from Bengaluru. He stands at the Chamarajpet constituency.
Lovely. Look at this. Applause for Mr. Zameer Ahmed Khan. Tell me something. Is there a past kind of animosity between HDK, or is it just recent because of Channapatna? It is because of, like he said, उधर जाते इधर आते उसके बाद हमारे पास आ गए योगेश्वर. Is it only Channapatna concentric, or there is an earlier animosity between the two?
Well, Sudha, it's I love you like I hate you kind of a relationship that both these people have, because I remember when the Congress and the JDS were combined force together. At that time, Zameer Ahmed had just shifted from the JDS and come to the Congress party, and it was 6 months or 8 months gap, and they had met each other at the Gandhi statue because they were protesting against the BJP government, and that is when Zameer Ahmed went with his hand folded, saying that I'm really sorry that I left your party and all of these. So we have those visuals that have played out. So they have this camaraderie, is what Zameer Ahmed is saying, because in the same press conference, he's gone on to say that I've been calling Kumaraswamy this from a very long time. We have this kind of a relationship where we call each other's names, and we've known each other for a very long time. So that is why I don't find it very wrong when I call him that, and he does not find it wrong when he calls me this. And that is why, but in politics like this, nobody is a friend, nobody is an enemy, and everything happens. And right now, because the election is happening and everybody wants to up the other person when it comes to talking, when it comes to promising, when it comes to bashing. So this is what is happening right now in Karnataka with the bypolls just around the corner, and today being the last day. Both of them are trying their best to make sure how they can woo their voters. If Kariya is not going to get you votes, then Fulla also can get you votes, is what they're talking all about.
Let me play you out, ladies and gentlemen, the bite of Zameer Ahmed Khan yet again, and then I go to Dr. Sudha.
उनकी सियासत हमारी पार्टी से हुई थी, सो कुछ नाइतफाकिया को पार्टी छोड़ को बीएसपी गए, इंडिपेंडेंट ठहर करे, मजबूरन दूसरा कोई रास्ता नहीं कर को जनता दल को उनको वोट टाइम को जाना मंजूर नहीं, कई के वास्ते जनता दल को जाना मंजूर नहीं, तो बीजेपी से खतरनाक कालिया कुमारस्वामी कर को.
Dr. Sudha is speaking in, Urdu, Dakhini, whatever one calls that language that is spoken in the south, in Tamil Nadu, as well as in Karnataka. Why is he speaking in that language? Do you think the constituents understand that language better than Kannada? Because if he's doing that, then he's obviously trying to influence voters in Channapatna.
Definitely, Sudha. He must be in that sector of the part of Channapatna where the more of those people are assembled over there. So that's the reason he's trying to influence them with the same language. And one more thing, you had asked me, and what they're saying, we both are close. Like he calls me Kulla and I call him Kariya and all. Whatever said and done, anything within the four walls is fine when it's a personal relation. But not when they're leaders and when they are addressing the public. When they're addressing the public, a particular decorum has to be maintained. That is the law of the land, first thing. Second thing is, you had asked me about women, how difficult it is for the women when it comes to politics and how they have to face all the comments on them regarding the character assassination and all. Sudha, I think when a woman is entering politics, she has to come up, make herself prepared that she is going to be abused with all these things, whatever said and done, because that is one way where they can pull a woman back, so that they can't go with her pace to run with her. So what they can do is they want to pull her leg and, with all those comments and all, so that she will be demoralized and she will step back. So that is what the woman has to face in today's scenario. But definitely, I think the women in today's scenario are much more stronger, and they're not going to bend
You know why, Sudha? Not only stronger, I think they have more civic sense. They have more of civility than all these men like Zameer Ahmed Khan, etc., etc. Sorry, we don't have to prove that we are superior. We are superior. Wajihullah, let me come to you now. Wajihullah, the thing is that I don't think Kumaraswamy, I agree with Dr. Sudha Halkai. She says you call each other short, tall, long, whatever, but when you are occupying an important place, then you better follow some kind of a decorum. What do you think? HDK is not the type to keep quiet. I think he's going to hit back very badly because he never lets go of an opportunity, and particularly because they have now fielded Nikhil, who's lost several elections, and they are on this very, very weak ground. Don't you think this has given HDK very, very good armor to attack the Congress party?
Well, absolutely, Sudha, because we've seen R. Ashok coming out and speaking against this language, and he's also gone on to say that what Zameer has said, does the other party leaders agree with it. We've seen remarks from Yediyurappa saying that people should know their stature before they speak, should know who they're talking about. This is not the kind of language that has to be spoken. So BJP has not left this issue let's just go by like this. And they're making sure that they will milk it, and we'll have to wait and watch what Kumaraswamy will say, because Kumaraswamy is not one of those who let things go just like that. And he's also somebody who will react to it, if not in his speech, but if, after the speech, when he's talking to the press, he might react, because what we've seen in the past with these two is also something that is open to everyone. They have abused each other. And like how Sudha ma'am, the BJP spokesperson, said, whatever you do in your four walls is your personal issue. But when you come out in public and when you speak such language, you are giving an indication that, yes, you can also speak this to your parents. You can also speak this to your friends in public. You can call anybody like this. And if everybody starts talking like this, you know what we're going to get. So that is where we'll have to wait and watch how Kumaraswamy reacts. And if he also reacts to the same level, then that's how that's the tit for tat politics, and that's the mentality there are. But if he gives it in a mature manner and he gives it back to Zameer Ahmed in a better fashion, then he'll at least set an example that that's not the language we got to use, and we've got to be better than what they are.
How desperate are politicians getting over the Chennapatna bypolls? You saw drama after drama. Dr. Sudha Halkai, I want to ask you, I'm going to take some names, and maybe there are others, maybe there are less. Yatnal, Ramesh Jarkioli. Now, someone who, CM Ibrahim, who was with the JDS and now is nowhere, him. And now this man, Zameer. All of them speak in this terrible, terrible language. And I think Karnataka is really, it's not just Karnataka. But I'm asking, why Karnataka? What is so big? Bypolls will come and go. But is this the message they are sending out to people? And despite this, what happens if, either of them, whether Yogeshwar, CP Yogeshwar, who is a very strong contender, of course, he does not win, or if Nikhil loses, what happens? What is the end result of this?
So as you told, the elections come and go. It's not the big thing. It is like the leaders and the public figures. We set one line for the public. They see us as leaders. They obey us. They follow us. So that is how we have to act in front of them. And we have seen that earlier. Few of the actors, they don't take few of the advertisements because they don't want to harm the public. The public will follow if they give those advertisements. So that is the responsibility of every citizen. I mean, every leader or who is a public figure, that what step they are going to take, that will be followed by all their followers. So they should be very careful, irrespective of whosoever it is. All
right. And on that note, I have to thank Vaji. Dr. Sudha Halkai will stay with us for the next debate. Thank you so much, Vajiullah, as always, for joining us on the debate. I'm taking a break. But the next big story, 11 years on, 1,110 Dalit families await homes in Bengaluru under a scheme which is mooted by BBMP. That's the next story which is coming up.
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
This is such a heart-wrenching story. You know, we keep talking about empowerment. Let's strengthen the hands of those who are marginalized. But this is the reality. Dalits await homes in Bengaluru. I'll tell you the story. This is a struggle for a roof on their heads and spans 11 long years. And what is worse is that in a country and a state called Karnataka, where politicians go on and on about empowering the marginalized, around 1,110 scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and sanitation workers have been waiting. You may ask why. Reason: allocation of houses granted to them by the BBMP under the Special Component Plan and Tribal Sub-Plan, which is called SCP-TSP. The scheme was first rolled out by the BBMP in 2008. Yes, that long ago. Now, 5 years later, in 2013, 1,110 families were identified as beneficiaries. Then in 2015, 2 land parcels were also identified. In February of this year, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar, who is also the main votary of brand Bengaluru, directed the BBMP, which is currently in possession of the land, to start work. But nothing moved. The BBMP said that it has been awaiting clearance from the Urban Development Department, that is the UDD, to start work. Let's also understand that during this decade, it is not just one, but many political parties and governments in Karnataka which can be accused of not doing much for homes for the marginalized. Like if you look at 2020, when the country was grappling with the terrible pandemic, COVID, the then Housing Minister Somanna wrote to the then Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa asking him to hand over the land to the Housing Department to build a housing complex. Even Yedurappa, much like D.K. Shivakumar, ordered that let the houses be built, but it was still status quo. Nothing moved. Between sanctions and more, the Dalits await homes, which should be their basic right. But then, is anyone listening? I'm asking you this. Don't miss this debate. Of course, Dr. Sudhar Halkai, spokesperson for the BJP in Karnataka, is still with us. And joining us is Satya Prakash, spokesperson for the KPCC. Namaskara, a very, very warm welcome to both of you. Satya Prakash ji, you know, your party. Good evening, Satya. Nice to have you on the show. You see, even 2 months ago, or maybe 1 month ago, when all guns were trained on Siddaramaiah because of the Muda scam, this is before Mrs. Parvati had surrendered her land. He said one thing. He said, you know, I'm a backward. You know, people are gunning for me because I'm marginalized. If I was strong enough, I would have done it. You have a president in the Congress party, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who is a perfect example of where he has reached, but he's always spoken. The caste census which is pending in your state, that also spoke about how the OBCs have to be strengthened. What is going on? Why are the Dalits not getting the houses? It's been 11 years. Actually, it started in 2008, Satya. What has happened?
I know. See, we need to understand whenever in 2008, which government was there.
Okay.
Whenever you are going to do anything for the marginalized, first thing you have to do is you have to identify the land. But what has the BJP government done? Before even identifying the land, Mr. Yedurappa announces a scheme for SC/ST, houses for SC/ST and Paura Karmikas. Then he also in 2013, before demitting office, he even goes to an extent of finalizing the beneficiaries without even land being acquired or land being identified. It was only in 2015, from 2015 when Siddaramaiah was the chief minister, that he identified 22 acres in Bangalore North and around 7.5 acres in Bangalore South. A land was identified during Congress time. Okay, so the problem is before even identifying the land or developing the land or even getting the necessary sanctions, the BJP Yedurappa has gone to an extent of announcing a scheme arbitrarily. This has led to the problem without even proper approvals by the urban department.
Satya, but in February, just a minute, Satya ji. In February of 2024, which is gone by, it's going to be a year in 3 months. D.K. Shivakumar told BBMP, start work. BBMP says that, UDD has not given us permission. What did your government do, Satya Prakash? Forget it. BJP, I will ask Sudha. Sudha is there. She will answer me. You tell me, From February to now, February is going to come. What has your government done?
We have earmarked 42 crores from the
You've
SC
earmarked,
fund.
but nothing has moved. You talk to those
That
people.
means
They are
fund-
running from pillar to post. They are saying, we are there. We have written 500 letters. Satya Prakash, you can't get away. Your government talks about empowering the marginalized. The guarantee scheme only talks about that. But this is what you do to the Dalits. Sudha, let me have you on the screen. Sudha, the Congress party has done it. February 2024, DK Shivakumar, oh, we will build brand Bengaluru. Nothing has happened. Bengaluru people say that roads have gone from bad to worse. But then, I'm not going to absolve your government also. What did Yadurappa ji do? Same thing. So it's not just one. Why has the needle not moved, Sudha?
Thank you so much, Sudha, for asking the question. Like, I got a chance to tell exactly what has happened. And before that, definitely I'll come to our point, why our party had not done it, I'll tell you. And why today they're not able to do it, I'll tell you. Because 25,000 crores of ST-SC funds have been misutilized by the Congress government for the guarantee. And this is absolutely unconstitutional. 187 crores has been used for the elections of the other state, and this has been accepted on the floor of the assembly by Mr. Siddaramaiah that 87 crores of scam has taken place. And the labor construction children, they were supposed to get the sponsorship, which was given regularly. Now they have cancelled from 100 rupees to 10 rupees. Matlab 90% of the amount is not being given to them. Where is all the amount gone now? And now Mr. DK Shivkumar, who is in charge for the Bangalore development, he is busy with the Wayanadu elections. Earlier, he was busy with the Telangana elections. He is so much worried about the dynasty family members not having a house. You can see a video which is viral, where he says, Sonia Gandhi is not having a shelter, but they're not bothered about the shelter of the 1,100 of our Dalit ST-SC brothers and sisters. And where is Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the tallest leader of the Dalit today? Why he's not talking a word about it? He's got a pin drop silence regarding this. Where is Mr. Priyank Kharge? He talks so much about our Honorable Prime Minister.
Okay. Sudha, you tell.
And BJP, I'll come back to your point.
No, wait a minute.
Back to your point.
I'm asking you one thing and you can carry on, and then I'll go to Satya. Sudha, Yadurappa gave an order that let the homes be built, but that order was withdrawn. Why?
Because there was agitation by the
Bahujan Vanchit. Yes.
Bahujan Vimochana Chalavali. The Chalavali is the agitation. So they had come up with that. That's the reason they had to keep it pending, or they had to withdraw it. That's the reason. And you can go back and see the details regarding that. And
okay.
Absolutely, it's a true fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
And Sudha, 1 minute. And first time in the history, 10,000 of the Paura Karmika's job were done permanent. It was during the BJP government, the SC/ST reservations have
went on strike. I've been in the business for long, Sudha. They also went on strike. Paura Karmika, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, are sanitation
Paura Karmikas, they have not got the salary for 3 to 4 months over here.
All right.
Sudha,
I have to go to the other guest, Sudhaji, please. Satya Prakash,
yeah, sure.
You say you have 42 crores, no, Satya? Great. I'm so happy.
I want to ask you a question.
Go on.
For a change. Did she answer the question that you asked? What was the question that you asked, and what did she answer?
She did not.
She did.
So I'm going to. She said the order was withdrawn, which is a fact.
Everything other than what the question that you have asked.
She's not
At least
answered,
you
but
should
she
ask
says.
her, please answer.
You ask, no? You ask. Go ahead.
I want to ask her, for 5 donkeys years that BJP was in power from 2008 to 13, what were they doing? Without even identifying the land, some Vanchit Bahujan comes and protests. You are going to stop giving houses to those SC/ST 1,100 houses.
Prakash, are you not ashamed? Are you not ashamed? You are in scam. You are in all the national channels for all the SC/ST funds. Valmiki Nigam, why did you do? What about the liquor scam which is going on, where you are going to fund the Maharashtra elections today? You have been Karnataka as an ATM.
No. We can't be like other channels. Sudhaji, let's not shout. I will not. No. My show, we all smile. let's all smile, take a breath. What is this?
Sudha,
Life
she
is
asked
many
you a
more
simple
things.
question.
Yeah.
I agree,
So,
I
Sudha,
agree.
let's
Sudha,
be
I will not
peaceful.
talk-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
will not talk over Sudha.
Boys,
You
you know,
don't
because
talk
seeing
over
a
me.
farmer's committing suicide, really, I swear, being a woman, being a doctor, my blood boils when the farmers are committing suicide.
Okay,
The crime
Satya,
against
let
women
me
is
change the
increased by
topic.
60%.
That is not the
Satya,
question.
you have 42 crores with you, right? And there are also funds available in the SCP, TSP. The funds are available. What is the delay? UDD, just tell them to sanction and BBMP.
UDD, once UDD, I will promise you in your show, Sudha. And today I will promise you, once the UDD gives the necessary sanction, those houses will be built. We will not sleep like Bommai, who has slept for 4 years. We will not sleep like Yedurappa, who has slept for 5 years. Within this next 2 to 3 years, we will finish it off and we will allot all those houses to those SC, ST. Because we were the ones who earmarked funds in SC, ST to an extent of their population in Karnataka. Karnataka is a model state. Today others are copying. But what I am trying to tell is, before you point fingers at us, we are only 1 year, 3 months old. We never took 25,000 crores for something else from SC, ST fund.
Satya,
We
your
took
gov,
25,000
you know,
crores.
for our marginalized people, you are now ruling. I will come to you, no? That, sir, I don't have a
We
house.
will. I will assure you, I will promise you, we will build this. We will build this
Right.
and we will give to the SC.
And
This
who
is my
does
promise.
the, all right, who does the BBMP report to you guys? They are not some organization which have, landed from above. So BBMP says, let's get, you know what, I think it's red tapeism. I think this is delay. Look at what's happened in Mandya. Is this a country for Dalits? And Mandya, you saw what happened? You know, the Utsav Swami or Moola Swami, that god, Dalit wanted to get in. There was a big protest. I don't want to take the name of the community which protested. But in Mandya, it happens. In Bengaluru, it happens.
We are not for it. We are not for it. The district administration will take the necessary action. Even at the behest of the district administration only, Dalits went into the temple. But after they went to the temple, there are a few others. I would also not mention their caste because it is not in good taste.
Yes.
They have taken the idol out. It is exactly, we should make sure that the fabric of this society is kept intact. Dalits are after all our own. And how can we treat them like that?
That's
How
what
can
I'm
we keep the
surprised.
Dalits away
That's
from
what
our
I'm
own gods?
surprised. Your party which talks about Dalit, your chief minister, the president of the Congress party, you are the ones under whom those 1,000 odd Dalits are struggling for 11 years to have a roof over their head. I think you promised me. How long will it take, Satya, so that I can run with this story? How long? Give a timeline. No, give a timeline, Satya.
I thank you. You have been a responsible channel. I have to tell you that आप लोगों ने हमारे को दिखाया ये issue अभी बाकी है. Thank you so much. Among so many national channels, News9 is one channel which is showing. I am not telling all what we have done. Doing wherever there is some lack, we will rectify ourselves. Sudha, thank you so much. You are one of the channel who has brought this to our notice. Two governments slept over it, Yedurappa's government and Bommai's government and Kumaraswamy's own government slept over it. We will not sleep over it. We will 100% make it sure that I myself will write to the our Bengaluru Development Minister, Mr. DK Shukmar, and urge him that we need to do justice for SC and ST.
It's done by February 2025. Dr. Sudha, you and I, the two Sudhas, will take him to task when it does not happen.
Definitely.
And he doesn't know what it is when he's faced with two women who will ask him questions. Satya, but thank you. You've been very graceful in accepting that we showed you the mirror. Thank you very much, Satya Prakash and Dr. Sudha. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. The next story which is coming up is Sri Lankan President Dissanayake promises to return Tamil's land which was grabbed by state agencies. Has the needle moved? That's the next story which is coming up.
Cooking is an act of law. The first act of law we receive from our mothers in the families.
Modern Indian food is all about contemporary and innovative approach to traditional Indian cooking.
The presentation it's also important,
I want to wear this white coat every day and then be a chef.
There are story. If the name of whiskey is Indri, then there is a whole story behind that.
Cooking food is like a therapy, and eating one is like a pleasure I can give it to myself. With Lounge Nights, I'm on a journey to celebrate and recognize the best food and nightlife establishments in various cities across India.
Radical presents Lounge Nights every Saturday and Sunday only on News9 Live.
All right, this is the third story and a very important one indeed. Lankan President promises to return Tamil's land. Sri Lankan President Kumaraswamy Dissanayake, while addressing his first public meeting in Jaffna since assuming office in September, made a very important statement. He assured the Tamils in Sri Lanka that their land, currently held by state agencies, will be returned by his government. Dissanayake seems to have renewed the pledge he had made days ahead of Sri Lanka's 14th of November parliamentary polls. He was addressing a large rally at the coastal suburb of Pasiyur, and his announcement evoked loud applause and cheers from the crowds. Over many years, Tamils living across the island's war-affected north and east have been agitating to reclaim their land that state agencies, including the archaeology and forest departments, forcibly took over. However, even as Anura made no commitment regarding the long-standing demand of Tamils for greater power devolution and the ethnic question that his manifesto had promised, he did extend an olive branch to them by committing to elections to the now defunct provincial councils. He said, and I quote him, "We will make sure that your own representatives can lead and govern your areas. So many of you showing up today shows that you are willing to place your trust in us. I invite all of you, the people of Jaffna, to join me in this effort to change the political culture of our country. We will ensure that there is no reason for such a war ever again. We will build trust among different communities and work hard until you feel this is your government." So, ladies and gents, has the needle moved many places so far as the Tamils are concerned in the island country? Will Dissanayake be the first one to actually make it happen, because there have been earlier attempts? Let's debate. I'm pleased to be joined by Ambassador Veena Sikri, former Indian diplomat, to speak about the issue. Ambassador Sikri, a very, very warm welcome to you. Do you think that do you think that, Ambassador Sikri, that this is a very important statement made by him? Because I remember while he was campaigning for the elections, he said that we need to take the Tamils along. I mean, we can't possibly isolate them. So to say that, and land, as you know it so well, that has been a major bone of contention with the Tamils and one of the pillars of their agitation, which lasted for over 2 decades, Ambassador.
Yes, indeed, I think the statement by President Dissanayake has been very important because they are very significant confidence-building measures. And we do know that the JVP, which was originally Mr. Dissanayake's party, had been campaigning always on a very anti-India platform, and it was very staunchly against the Tamils. But now in the new alliance, the National People's Power Alliance, under which Mr. Dissanayake has won this election and is now president of Sri Lanka, he has considerably modified his stance. He's taken a much broader picture, a picture of unity, a picture of carrying the all members of the island communities forward in harmony. And I think his first speech after his election as president on this subject in the Jaffna area has been very significant, because he recognizes that during the presidential elections, he got very few votes from this region. In fact, a very paltry number of 27,000. And even the few election campaigns that he held in this region were poorly attended and had to be held indoors in small stadiums and so on. And they were very poorly attended. But this one has been held outdoors. It is massively attended. And I think it shows a mutual interest in getting over the problems of the past and in moving ahead. So I think this crucial aspect of land, as you've quite rightly said, this is a very significant demand of the Tamil community, and it is very central to the getting back, the rehabilitation, the reconciliation.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a very, very crucial aspect, and he has promised this is very good.
Right.
The second aspect he's promised about governance, which is, saying that he will hold the provincial and local council elections, is very important. Without that, there can be no direct interest of Tamil.
You're right, yeah.
In areas.
Right. Ambassador Sikri, it's not as if Vikramasinghe also promised. He actually returned. I remember, let me get the numbers right. He handed 197 deeds to people in Jaffna and, return of over 100 acres, and also said that I'm going to give you 15,000 freehold land deeds, for the residents of the northern province. The thing is that if you talk to Tamils today in Sri Lanka, they're still talking about, of course, there is starvation. There are missing people from their families. Children's futures are over. It's traumatic. They have no agency. They have no social agency. They have nothing. And they still say, our land. This is something which was stilled, which was something, we were the ones who came here and we built all this. But it's been taken over with, complete brazenness by the archaeology department. I mean, you get into our temples and you say, okay, we are taking over this. You'd get into our lands and everything. So what do you think is the difference, Ambassador Sikri, between what Vikramasinghe said and what Dissanayake is saying? How is it going to be different?
Well, I think we can say that former President Kumaraswamy, he didn't implement what he surely as a sure of the gesture, a political gesture, empty, meaningless political gesture. He had given those titles back, but I don't think any of them were implemented. I don't know how many of them actually got it back and they actually can go back and start living and, rebuilding their lives on that land. So I think this is one thing. And obviously, we've seen that there was no implementation, and that's why President Vikramasinghe did not get the votes. The people of this area were supporting the candidacy of Sajid Premadasa in this, but he too did not get the votes. And now that not only Mr. Anurag Dissanayake has been elected, and he has come back to this region to campaign for the parliamentary elections which are going to be held in a few days, shows his interest in reconciliation. So let us say it is a ray of hope. And I think the Tamil people have responded positively to that, because I think, as we know, Mr. Anurag Dissanayake has had good talks with the Indian government. There have been good prospects for the future. He has visited India earlier on, much earlier this year.
Yes.
So I think all those show a kind of sincerity on the behalf of Mr. Anurag Dissanayake, which I think the people are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and carry it forward and hope that it will be implemented this time, and they'll be able to get their lands back and so their livelihoods back and economic prosperity back also.
Yeah, Ambassador Sikri, he said something else. He said, I'm not going to allow Indian fishermen with their trawlers to kind of come into our space and do what they've been doing. I mean, it's illegal. Of course, we know the greater issue is that about how the trawlers clash. That's another conversation. Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, has been bringing in this up. 28 fishermen recently were also shoved into jails in Sri Lanka. But I like what he said later. He said, because the Tamils, even now in Sri Lanka, they depend on fishing as one of their major occupations. He said, I'm not going to allow them to come inside here and kind of take away your livelihood. Do you think it's a very, very smart diplomatic move? Because Sri Lankan Tamils, although I'm a Tamil, so, we are united because of our mother tongue, but there is a great difference. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. The fishing issue is definitely the single most sensitive issue, which directly involves the Tamil people of Sri Lanka, and it's their livelihood also versus the livelihood of the people of Tamil Nadu in India. And I think a lot of this dates back to the agreement on the Kachativo Island, and that has caused a lot of disruption in the traditional patterns of fishing which were there and the traditional understanding of the fishing pattern. But there is no option right now except to work out a friendly agreement with the government of Sri Lanka, which will help the people of both sides, help the fishermen of both sides of India on Tamil Nadu and the Tamil fishermen of Jaffna. And I think there has to be some kind of cooperation. This business of, arresting the fishermen, putting them in jail, maltreating them, causing a lot of dissatisfaction in Tamil Nadu, and quite understandably so. There has to be some agreement. There are a number of countries in the world where these fishermen disagreement on fishing rights, on poaching, etc. is there. But always I have found that if you can work out a joint agreement, you have a joint agreement, you work together to increase the overall availability of fish in the area, you employ a number of technical and scientific methods for this, and you work together with the understanding that we both can benefit by it. It can be a win-win solution. It's tough because there's years of unhappiness and sensitivity on the Indian side about it, but I do think that this is a way out and we can work on it as we can work on many other issues.
Right. Ambassador Sikri, a lot of Tamils say that the demographics of the areas where they have lived for, centuries has also changed. A lot of Sinhalas have come and, started living there, and the demographics, like I said, has changed, the language, the way they live. They are very, very polite to each other, but then, they are Tamils and then there are Sinhalese. Why do you think Dissanayake is making promises like this? Because the Tamils are very, very, yes, they really applauded when Dissanayake said this. But then they also have this question as to why is the new president talking like this? Do you think that he knows very well that without the Tamil support, notwithstanding his politics, Anura's politics, it will be very difficult for him to kind of, take the country along, particularly after such a trying economic times that they have faced?
Yes, economic prosperity is the key, and when there is a complete lack of economic prosperity, we saw what Sri Lanka went through. But I think that, I think the new president of Sri Lanka is coming from a place where he recognizes that it's the Indian government which helped them out of this crisis, and he recognizes that very well, and that's a very important point. It's a very important starting point because it means that both sides can work together on building a relationship which benefits everybody and doesn't make anybody unhappy to the extent of hostility. Now, the promise that he's making to return the land is a very important one because, as I said, it means a revival of livelihoods. You get your land back, you can live there, you can have your livelihood there, prosperity there, and your the children can go to school and look for a better future. Now, the question of getting the lands back will obviously mean that the coming of Sinhalese there may then go down because the lands have then gone back to the Tamil community, and encroachment and so on will be much less. So it is important to have this promise fulfilled. Let us see what the elections bring up on the 14th of November in Sri Lanka. And if indeed the National People's Power Alliance gets a good vote in Parliament, then he will be in a position to actually go ahead and implement. But if it's again a hung Parliament and there are other parties who also get more votes and it's a divided Parliament House, then it might be more difficult. But I think with the way in which he has been campaigning, and he's decided to go back to Jaffna in this area, despite the fact that he didn't get much from them during the presidential election, and tell them that, look, I've come back and I'm promising you this. It'll be difficult for him not to fulfill his promises. Of course, he does say that, the final settlement about devolution will have to be done through a constitutional amendment. He's talked about a constitutional amendment. He's not willing to go on the earlier amendment of the 13th plus amendment. So I think this is a problem that the Tamils will have to look at and discuss with his party. But let us see what the parliamentary elections bring, so that at least the first starting point can be taken.
So before I let you go, I want to ask you, which is the elephant in the room, land, or you think devolution of power and giving them more power than what has subsequent presidents promised but never delivered. I would say land, because if you get land, then of course it's about, economic prosperity. It's also about getting your dignity back. Would you agree, Ambassador?
No, I agree with you. I quite agree with you on that, because getting the land back means you're resettled there. You're there on your own area. You're confident that you can take it forward, build industries, small scale industries, micro industries, and, get something going. And it gives a great sense of the ownership of the Tamil community, their participation in the life of Sri Lanka, which is absent at the moment. Now, if combined with this, you get the lands back and you get the provincial and local elections, then, you really do have something, because then you have the people at least being able to administer this area. Devolution of power will have to come, as he says, as the president says, through a constitutional amendment. But at least local elections would be very important. I hope he does not hold up the question of local elections and provincial elections on something that only after the constitutional reform. We certainly hope that obstacle does not come in. But I agree with you that land, returning the land to the people is a very big promise. He has chosen the right issue to focus on. Now it's up to him to implement and to build the confidence and trust with the people of Jaffna.
And on that note, Ambassador Veena Sikri, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. Thank you indeed, ma'am. And as promised, I'll leave you with the other top stories from the south of India. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
Cooking is an act of love. The first act of love we receive from our mothers in the family.